On January 1st, SpaceX VP Kiko Donchev revealed the answer to a billion-dollar question. How do you move a 230-foot rocket across the ocean? The Marmac 31 barge just completed its first trial run. But the real game-changer isn't the ship, it's the cargo. Instead of transporting new boosters, SpaceX might send Booster 12, a vehicle that already flew and was caught in Texas, to launch again from Florida. This isn't rocket reuse anymore. This is rocket redistribution. But can hardware that survived re-entry survive a sea voyage? December 30th, 2025. Most people were still celebrating the holidays, but Julia Bergeron was doing what she does best, watching Starbase like a hawk. She spotted a massive barge at the turn basin, delivering hardware to Bale Brothers Canal Lot. Something felt different about this one. She tagged Kiko Donchev on X. Did SpaceX just deliver a Starship transport barge? His response came within hours. Good eye, still needs a little work before we put the name on it, but it was a good first trial run of a transport. That confirmation changed everything. SpaceX's vice president of launch doesn't usually comment on random barge deliveries unless something big is happening. And this was big. The vessel is Marmac 31, 260 feet long, 72 feet wide, typically used for offshore construction. Nothing special on its own. What makes this interesting is what SpaceX did to it. They added reinforced skirts designed to cradle cylindrical rocket sections during ocean transit. That meant engineers had to calculate load distribution for a 200-ton booster lying horizontal on a moving deck. Ocean swells, wave impacts, constant motion, every grid fin actuator, every Raptor connection, every weld has to handle conditions it was never built for. Now, shipping rocket stages by water isn't exactly new. NASA did it during Apollo with Saturn V stages. The shuttle external tank traveled on the Pegasus barge from Louisiana to Kennedy. ULA still ships Atlas and Delta components to the coast today. But those were all one-way trips with brand new hardware heading to launch sites.
What SpaceX is attempting with Booster 12, nobody's ever tried that before. They're talking about redistributing flight-proven hardware for multi-site reuse. Walk through what that means. Booster 12 launched, survived re-entry at hypersonic speeds, got caught by the launch tower's chopstick arms, underwent post-flight inspection in Texas, and now might travel 1,000 miles across the Gulf to launch again from Florida. During ascent, it handled forces exceeding 1,800 pounds per square foot at max Q. Re-entry temperatures hit 1,400 degrees Celsius on some surfaces. The catch maneuver put multi-G loads through the grid fin attachment points. Violent, extreme environments, the structure was designed to survive. Ocean transport? Whew, different beast entirely. Saltwater corrosion starts attacking exposed metal within hours. Wave-induced flexing creates cyclical loads that crack welds. A 5-foot swell might not sound dramatic until you're securing a 230-foot object on a 260-foot deck. The booster's shape makes it vulnerable to bending during transit. And this is flight-proven hardware worth tens of millions. You can't just wing it. The trial run Donchev mentioned actually tells you something important about SpaceX's approach. They didn't just theory craft this in meetings. They loaded real hardware, sailed the actual route, monitored how everything responded, gathered data. When he says the barge still needs a little work, that's actually good news. They found issues during testing, not during an actual mission-critical transport. That's how you validate new capabilities without blowing up your operation. Why does any of this matter beyond just moving rockets. SpaceX has 3 launch sites either running or nearly ready: Starbase Pad 1 and Pad 2 in Texas, LC-39A at Kennedy Space Center, potentially SLC-37 at Cape Canaveral. The company wants 100-plus Starship flights per year. Starbase alone can't handle that. Environmental reviews, FAA approvals, community concerns, pad turnaround, bottlenecks everywhere. Florida gives them multiple pads, better infrastructure, relationships built from years of Falcon 9 ops, and, critically, downrange safety zones over the Atlantic instead of the Gulf. Instead of building separate booster fleets for each coast, they could run a mobile fleet. Catch a booster in Texas, inspect it, put it on Marmac 31, ship it to Florida, launch it again from 39A. That same booster racks up flights at different sites. The economics completely shift. Raptor 3 engines run about $250,000 each. With 33 per booster, that's $8.25 million just in engines. Full booster production? Around $90 million. Moving boosters between sites instead of building coast-specific fleets could cut hardware needs by 40 to 50%. Nobody's tried this before because nobody's had rapidly reusable boosters worth the trouble of moving. The timing shows you SpaceX's thinking. Flight 12 with new Block 3 hardware targets March 2026 from Texas. But they're building massive facilities at Roberts Road in Florida, the Gigabay for assembly, the future Star Factory for full production. Those won't be ready until 2027 to 2028. The barge bridges that gap. It lets them fly high-cadence missions from Florida using Texas-built hardware before East Coast production comes online. That's 12 to 18 months of advantage, maybe 30 to 50 additional flights. But there's a real concern about bottlenecks. Each ocean crossing takes 5 to 7 days. Add loading, weather delays, unloading, post-transport inspections, call it 10 to 14 days per vehicle minimum. Donchev mentioned eventually carrying multiple vehicles per transit, but initial runs are 1 booster or 1 ship. At 1 vehicle every 2 weeks, Marmac 31 delivers maybe 25 to 30 vehicles per year to Florida. If SpaceX wants 100 annual flights split between coasts, needing 2 boosters per Florida flight, 1 flying, 1 refurbishing, the math gets uncomfortable. Proving this works isn't just about the first trip, it's about scaling fast. The Booster 18 explosion in November makes this even more urgent. That anomaly, probably a COPV failure during pressure testing, destroyed a Block 3 booster and pushed back Flight 12. SpaceX responded by stacking Booster 19 in a record 25 days. But what happens when something similar happens in Florida with no local production? Being able to ship a replacement from Texas in under 2 weeks becomes critical. The barge isn't just about expansion, it's insurance when things break. What's interesting is how SpaceX developed this openly. Donchev talked about the transport strategy publicly back in September 2025. Musk confirmed the plan years ago when people said horizontal transport couldn't work. Now Bergeron catches the barge during its trial. Donchev confirms it, and the space community validates the concept in real time. Thousands of engineers, photographers, analysts scrutinizing every detail, catching issues early. Crowdsourced problem-solving for rocket logistics. It works because SpaceX trusts the process enough to do it publicly. Booster 12's potential first journey matters beyond just one rocket. If SpaceX proves a flight-proven booster can survive ocean transport and launch successfully from a second site, they've unlocked something fundamental. Starship transforms from a single-site system into genuinely mobile launch architecture. That's what Donchev meant by game-changer. So Marmac 31 isn't just solving a transportation problem. SpaceX is building the world's first mobile rocket fleet. When Booster 12 makes that crossing, it proves boosters can launch from Texas, land, then fly again from Florida. That's not incremental, that's rewriting how this works. Want to see how Flight 12's timeline stacks up against NASA's Artemis II? Click the video on your screen. What's your prediction? Will Booster 12 be first to cross? Drop it below and subscribe to New Space Review so you catch what happens next.